And I now give the floor to His Excellency Andrei Dapkiunas, Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs of Belarus.
President, I wonder to myself, how does the global plan and this meeting help in the fight against human trafficking? This question is particularly timely if, for a moment, you imagine that people are asking themselves this question who've happened to have found out about this meeting here. And by this I mean people who are in the hands of human traffickers, the victims of human trafficking themselves. Would these people be inspired by the fact that the UN member states have agreed the text for a political declaration? Would the fire of hope be aflame in the souls of these people at the knowledge of how much thinking has gone into our work over these days? Would their souls soar from the fact that the participants in our high-level discussion once again have unanimously labelled human trafficking as a phenomenon that is a shame on the face of humanity? These are rhetorical questions because we all know all too well what the answer to these questions would be. The global plan is not a convention, it's only an invitation to action. It's a declaration of intent. These intentions only have real value and significance when they take the form of our practical actions. What among our practical actions can give hope that humanity will finally find within itself the decisiveness and the will to put an end to human trafficking? Firstly, it would be unity of action. Only by really uniting the efforts of all countries and organizations and placing those efforts higher than any political considerations of gain, comfort, or expedience would we be able to achieve a new quality in the fight against modern slavery. Any attempt to make use of the issue of human trafficking for self-promotion, selecting preferential partners, or the beneficial aspects of the subject to work on, all of this, in objective terms, creates, if not the situation, then at least the impression of diffuseness and chaos in our efforts. All states and secretariats of international organizations and NGOs must take the only possible mentality that will lead to success. That's the mentality of a group of friends, a mentality of open and honest partnership as a counterweight to the mentality of competition. Because until we do that, the human traffickers will sleep soundly. Secondly, we need to take small practical steps so that each person makes the contribution that they can to the common effort. We must recognize that participation in the Convention against Transnational Organized Crime and the supplementary Palermo Protocol to it on human trafficking is not just a political issue, it's also a moral choice. While traders see that the participation of states in these key documents is not universal, then they have real evidence that we as the global community are still divided. We also need to achieve broader support for the work of the Voluntary Trust Fund for victims of trafficking in persons. I'm proud to say that my country has, for the third time, made a voluntary contribution to the fund. From this high rostrum, I would like to turn to the distinguished representatives of the member states with a request and a call that they consider the possibility of supporting the resources of the fund as those responding to an acute and severe need. The means used to support the fund are means for direct action. They provide practical support for victims of human trafficking. Thirdly, the most important work that we do is activity at national level. The main driver of this effort is our active state elites. These are elites that are clearly aware of their moral responsibility for more decisive and uncompromising activity in fighting human trafficking. Elites who are open to partnership-based cooperation to achieve these aims, both with like-minded figures within their own countries and also at international level. Let us each ask ourselves, are we among these like-minded thinkers? Protecting people like ourselves from slavery, violence and exploitation is possible. The time of discussions and self-inspiration has passed. Now it's time to act. Thank you.
I thank the Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs of Belarus,